This is Pataliputra, capital of the Maurya Empire. The year is roughly 250 BC. Right now, this is the largest empire the Indian subcontinent has ever seen. Stretching from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, bigger than anything Alexander left behind. If you're coming with me into this one, you might want to stick around. Because what happens here in the next few decades changes everything. An emperor who conquers the world and then decides he doesn't want it anymore. Okay? First impressions of Pataliputra. The smell hits you before anything else. Incense, spices, wood smoke, animals, and about 200,000 people living close together. The streets are laid out in a grid, 2,000 years before anyone in Europe thought of that. Drainage channels on both sides, garbage collection. This city is better organized than some places I've lived. The Mauryan government runs everything. And I mean everything. Mines, forests, trade routes, weights and measures. There's a superintendent of prostitutes, I'm not kidding. Let's find some food. I've been told the street markets here are something else. Rice, lentils, mangoes, fresh ghee, spices I don't even have names. There's a woman selling something that smells incredible. Cooked in clay pots right here on the street. Okay, I'm gonna give this meal a rating. 9 out of 10. The rice has been cooked in something I can't identify and I don't care. The coins here are punched with symbols, silver and copper, standardized across the entire empire. A single currency, a single system of weights, from the Himalayas to the Deccan. That's how you run an empire. And then there's the spy network. The emperor's eyes and ears are everywhere. Chanakya, the Machiavelli of ancient India, wrote an entire manual on espionage, poisons, disguises, code words. I'm fairly certain I've been followed since I arrived, and I'm not sure I'm joking. The real reason I'm here, the reason anyone comes to Pataliputra is him. Emperor Ashoka, third ruler of the Maurya Dynasty. They call him Devanampriya Ayuro, beloved of the god. I've read about this palace. Greek ambassadors wrote that it surpassed the palaces of Persia. Gold-covered pillars, gardens with peacocks, hundreds of courtiers moving like they've rehearsed it. This is the center of the world, and nobody in my time even knows its name. But I haven't just come to admire, I've come to see what Ashoka does next. Because right now Ashoka is preparing for war, and I am going to follow him. The road east toward Kalinga, the army is massive. Elephants, cavalry, infantry stretching for miles. The dust from the marching feet rises like a fog. You taste it before you see the soldier. Everyone here believes this is righteous. Kalinga defied the empire, this is justice. I know how this ends and I can't warn anyone. I can't change it, I can only witness. The Battle of Kalinga lasted one day, one single day. 100,000 people died, 100,000 on one field in one day. And Ashoka walked through it. The emperor himself walked through the dead. He saw the bodies, heard the wounded, smelled what victory actually smells like. Something inside him broke, or maybe something woke up. Ashoka stood here and said, never again. The conqueror renounced conquest. He turned to Buddhism, not the Buddhism of temples and rituals, the raw, practical kind. Compassion, non-violence, respect for all living things. This becomes the law of the land. He carves his edicts into stone pillars and rocks across the empire in the people's own languages. Not Sanskrit Ayuro, the language of priest Prakrit. So ordinary people could read them. Think about that. Hospitals for humans, hospitals for animals, wells dug along highways, shade trees planted for travel. This is the first welfare state in history, 2,000 years before anyone else tried it. He sends Buddhist missionaries to Sri Lanka, to Southeast Asia, to the Greek kingdoms in the West. The man who once commanded the largest army in India is now sending teachers instead of soldiers. There's a monk here who's been watching me. I think he knows I don't belong. He doesn't ask questions, he just sits with me. And then he offers me a piece of fruit. Try to ask him about Ashoka, about the war, about everything, he just smiles. And says something I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. He says the war was one day, the peace is every day after, that is the harder fight. Walk back toward Pataliputra a different person than when I left. The empire doesn't last forever, nothing does. After Ashoka it slowly crumbled. But the pillars remain, the inscriptions remain, the idea remains. That lion capital you see on Indian currency today, that's Ashoka, still watching, still speaking. I think about the monk's words a lot now. The war was one day, the peace is every day after. I came here to see an empire. I found a man who decided the empire wasn't worth the cost. Then spent the rest of his life trying to be kind, not for glory, not for legacy, just because it was right. I don't know if history remembers that. I don't know if it matters if history remembers. I remember, and now you do too.